Today is July 20th. I am Jessica Clark. It is a pleasure to conduct this interview for the Dakota Memories Oral History Project in Allen, Saskatchewan. Can you start by stating your name?
My what?
Your name?
Agnes Senger.
And what's your maiden name?
My maiden name was Brickner.
Brickner? Where were you born, Agnes?
Colonsey.
Okay. And what year were you born?
14.
Oh my goodness.
1914.
1914. Can you tell me some stories about your childhood?
Yeah, one of them, me and my brother went out catching gophers. We had all the traps set, and then we had snares, and I was helping him, and then I was watching for a gopher coming out of the snare, and then the other one come out, so I grabbed it by his head and killed it. And then at home we used to, when parents were gone, my mother didn't know why that heifer didn't kick when she milked her with her first calf. So later on we told her. We took jam pails and put water or something in, and when they kicked, we gave it a licking. And then we started again, and she didn't kick when Mother milked her. She didn't know how, but we only told her later. And we took the chickens too, the smaller ones, put their head under the wings and made them sleep, put them on the ice cellar. It wasn't very high, and then when they got two, they tumbled down. That was one after the other, though, not just one. What we done? We done lots, but I can't remember all of them.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had with myself was 6 sisters and 6 brothers.
Oh my.
But there's only 3 of us left.
Can you take me through the oldest to the youngest with their names?
Yeah. The oldest was Francis, and the second one was Roy, and then was myself, and then the birthdays on too.
Oh, you want to share those with us?
You want them?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Francis was born October the 6th, 1912. And Roy was born October the 28th, 1913. And myself, December the 24th, 1914. And my sister Bertha was born January the 28th, 1915. And my sister Ida, she's not living anymore. She passed on in January the 25th. No, her birthday was January the 25th, and she died April the 12th, 1959. And my brother Adam was born in April the 7th, and I don't know when he died now. I've got it written down, but I didn't put it on this, Adam. And Aloysia was July the 11th. I've got that written up in the other book. And Tony was August the 23rd. Tony, yeah, my brother Tony. Johnny, August the 12th. And Jack, July the 22nd. And Jen, January the 3rd. Yeah.
Since you were one of the oldest, did you have to help care for the younger children?
Not really, no. I have to tell you, I left home in 29, and I come back in 40. I was in Humboldt for 11 years as a nun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. What was that like for you, being gone?
I got, towards the last, I didn't like it anymore. Not encounter the place, but encounter the people, some of the people. There were stories that I didn't do, and I was always punished. So I left.
Where is that at from where you were born? How far away was that?
Humboldt it was.
Yeah, I don't know where that's at.
Humboldt is Humboldt isn't too far from here.
Okay. What type of chores did you have to do when you were growing up?
Oh, did a lot of baking. I baked a lot of bread. 100-pound bag for one mix.
That is a lot of bread.
That was a lot of bread.
How often did you have to bake bread?
I baked every day in that place there. But at home, I baked lots too. A bag of flour didn't last me a month at home with my children. If I baked cookies, it didn't last. But if I baked bread, it lasted longer. Yeah, I did an awful lot of baking. I still do a lot of baking for myself.
What was your mom's name?
Katerina.
Katrina? And what was her family name?
Brickner.
Brickner?
Brickner. And there is a Brickner too, Bre.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's some in Colonsey. It was my dad and his brother had trouble with their mail. So my uncle left to put an E in his, and my dad left to C, the I in.
Can you tell me a little bit about your mother?
Well, I know she was good. She worked hard. And I don't know otherwise what she done. I know that she worked hard, that's about it. Took care of us all. You take 12 children.
Where was she born?
19. My mother's name was Katharina. She died in February the 11th, 1994. And she was born where did I have her? They come to Canada in 1900. Oh, that's when 1905, but they got married in 19. It's all the death ones.
So your mom actually came from Russia to Canada?
No, from the States.
Oh.
Dad come from Russia.
Where was your mom at in the States?
North Dakota.
Oh.
That's where I've got some of my relatives too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Did your mom ever tell you what it was like in North Dakota?
No, she never. She didn't say much. I was there too already, but I didn't mind it.
And what was your dad's name?
Jacob.
Jacob?
He was born in Russia.
Do you know where about?
I don't know. I'd find it in the Allen history book maybe.
Do you, that's okay. Did he ever tell you what life was like over in Russia?
No, he didn't. They never talked about that. They didn't talk too much about their relatives. I find out more from them, from a friend in the States than ever.
How old was he when he came over to Canada?
I wouldn't know how old.
Know?
They never told us.
Okay.
Because when we got visitors, we had to get out of the way. We never were allowed to be amongst the visitors.
What did you do for fun when they had visitors come over?
We weren't allowed to stay with the visitors. We had to get away.
Where would
Only
you go?
the older folks had their company. We were gone. We weren't allowed to stay with them and hear them talk or anything. That was out. We had to get away.
What did you do when you got away?
Well, usually it was time, and then they sent us upstairs to bed, out of the way. But now you don't do that anymore.
Do you know how your parents met each other? No? Nothing like that?
I've got their wedding picture too here. I've got the pictures here from them, from some of them, right back there.
How do you spell the last name? Do you know?
I'll have to look in the phone book. It's in the phone book. Sibernathlel.
Okay.
Siber
Mm-hmm.
Naged Nagel.
T-L. Okay. Okay.
And this is my brother and sister and one of our cousins.
Oh.
This is my sister, and this is my brother, and this is my cousin.
What's your sister's name?
Frances.
Frances. Did she get married?
Oh, she was married. Yeah, she got married.
What was her married last name?
Moldenhauer.
M-O-L Molden H-A-U-E-R? Moldenhauer?
Yeah.
And then your brother's name?
Roy.
Roy. And your cousin's name?
Kraft, I think.
Kraft.
Yeah, Reynolds. Frances Kraft. Well, that was her name, but her married name was this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what your sister was like?
That's hard to think of. She was good to us. She was the oldest one.
Was she?
Yeah, she had to stay out of school because Mom had so much work. School that time was nothing for my mother. When there was work to do, we had to work. No, forget school. And this is the way we went to school.
Oh my goodness.
This is my brother Roy, and this is myself,
Roy.
and this is my sister Ida, and this is Sister Bertha, and this is Jake and Adam.
Jake and Adam. So this is how you would go to school. You would take this wagon and
Yeah, that's a buggy.
okay. How far was school from the farm?
2.5 miles. We went to Breezy Brace School.
Okay. Was that a one-room schoolhouse? Was it one room with 8 grades?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you like going to school?
I didn't mind it. I only went up to grade 6.
Really?
We couldn't do our homework at home. When we come home, Mother said, get to work. And we milked 7 to 8 cows before we went to school. We had to be up early in the morning to get the cows milked and get separated. And then we didn't have time. And then evenings when we did have homework, when we come home, Mother said, go do your work. But by the time we had our work done, we were tired.
When you were going to school, did you have the same teacher every year, or did you have new
We had
teachers?
a teacher for quite a while, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This is, you can read it back here. I got these out of my mother's, when my mother passed on. She didn't have the names or anything, so these are my dad's brothers and sisters. This is one of my dad's sisters, and this is her husband, Mr. Plotsky, and this is another one of my dad's sisters and her husband, and this is my uncle and his wife, and this is my mother and dad, and the other one was, what was his name again? I forget. That's the one I missed. I don't know.
So you have your dad. So when you were growing up, did you get to see your aunts and uncles a lot?
Oh, yes, I knew these were Plotskys. These two we knew, and then there's a Suffolk, another one that we knew. I got to see them, but we were never being with a company.
Did they have kids your age? Did you have
They
cousins?
never brought them along.
Never brought them
No.
along?
And this is my grandma with her twins.
Oh my.
They're all gone though.
Is this your grandma on your mom's side?
Yeah, my mother's mother.
Did you know her?
Oh, yes, I knew her.
What type of a person was she?
She was a nice person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What types of things would you do with her when you were a kid? Would you
Well,
visit her?
she was in town here in Allen, but we used to bring her either, something we had to bring her all the time, either a little bit of cream or a little bit of butter or something like that. That's my parents' wedding picture.
Oh, is it?
My mom and dad's wedding picture.
Oh my goodness.
This we didn't look at.
So, do you know where they got married? Were they in Canada?
They were in Canada already, but I don't know where.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's great.
This is my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, and this is Wendland, the oldest one of the family. He's not here anymore. My husband's brother.
Husband's family.
Those little ones. I don't know if I wrote it down.
Grandpa
Yeah.
and Grandma sing?
Yeah.
And then who's the little, Wendolyn, you said that was the little one's name?
I don't know. His name was Wendland.
Okay. Were they nice to you when you first met
They
your
were
husband?
wonderful, those two people. We had lots of fun with Grandpa. And Grandma was nice too.
How did you meet your husband?
I think it was at a dance somewhere. I don't know. Forget.
Do you know how old you were?
I could have been around 20 or 21.
Oh, okay.
And this is my great-grandma and grandpa.
Oh
and
my
all
goodness.
the whole family. That's a craft.
So this picture was probably taken in Russia.
I wouldn't know where that person got it from,
Okay.
but it was given to me.
Okay. That's great.
See, this is Mike's mother, like that. That's where she is with my first granddaughter.
Okay. And Mike was your husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Mike's mother.
Okay.
And then she had a cane, and then when she passed on, the cane was given to her, to the little one, and she had it out playing. Her mother said, and she never bothered, and it was taken on her. These are from Breezy Brae School, no, from Happy School pictures. All the children that I know.
Let's do this one first here.
Yeah, here's my son, Rick,
Oh my goodness.
and here's my daughter, Christina, and this is one of Fritz's girl. Oh, and this is, I think, could be a Bame. I just can't think of them all. And this is how my children went to school.
Oh my.
You ever see something like
I
that?
haven't. Is
We
that
called it the chigger. Do you know my husband built that for them from scratch?
really?
Yeah. That's how they learned to drive the car. There's my son and my sister and the dog we had. That thing worked good. They had to crank it, I think. Crank it. I don't know how. He built it himself.
So he was very mechanically
He
inclined?
was. Yeah, but he never took no lessons.
Really?
Yeah, this is great-grandma. And Grandma Heisler and somebody else. That's Francis, the one we sent before. And this was in Allen Church in the early days.
Oh, this is the church right over here?
Yeah.
So this
But
church
it was remodeled.
this church over here, is that where you attended church when you were growing up?
Yeah.
So did
It
you
still is the same, only the modeled different inside. The altar is still the same.
Really?
Yeah. But they took all the little stuff away. They got different altars, like now, in it.
So when you were growing up, was religion really important to your family?
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah.
Did you go every Sunday to church?
No, we had church, I think, once a month, I think, in Colonsey.
Really?
And then if we drank water or anything, we weren't allowed to go to communion. And now it doesn't matter when you eat, you can go anytime.
Do you remember when you took your first communion?
Yeah, I remember it was 1920. I'd have to look at the picture. It wasn't 20, no, maybe it wasn't 25 or 30.
Do you have a picture of your first communion?
Yeah, I have them
Oh,
both.
can we see it?
I have them both. And this is mine in August 1925, I think. Yeah, 1925.
So you were born in 1914, so that would make you 11?
11, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what you had to do to prepare for your first Holy Communion?
Well, we had to go to catechism, and we had Father Chores. Were you taking those pictures that you have? But that you won't see the writing very good.
Yeah, he'll take another picture of it so that we make sure we get it. So what were catechism classes like when you were growing up?
He was tough.
Yeah.
If we didn't learn it, they got your ears boxed.
Did you go through
This is St. Paul's Hospital, the first one.
Okay. Did you go through a confirmation as well?
Yeah, confirmation, not as bad as, it wasn't confirmation, but as bad as First Communion, catechism. We drove from home, it was 9 miles to Allen with horse and buggy for catechism.
Okay.
And that's the way we drove home again. Yeah.
After your first Holy Communion.
This is my family.
Oh my goodness. Do you have?
Well, this one is.
Okay, so
This
here.
one isn't alive anymore.
Start
That's
with the
my
back
son.
row.
Yeah.
Tell me the back row because it's not.
It's not in the bag.
Yeah.
This is Johnny, and this is his wife, Marlene. And this is Wes Booker.
Wes.
Oh, you wanted the...
Yeah, do the back. Who's this one?
Wes Booker.
Wes.
Wes.
W-E-S.
And Wes Booker, and the next one is Michelle. And the next one is Jack.
Jack.
And then there's Marvin. And no, I think I had Tony here. Just a minute. That's Michelle, and that would have been Tony. No, Rick.
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 Not Jack. Okay.
And this is Marvin.
Okay.
Not Marvin, no. Oh, what's his name again? Yeah, Marvin. Not Marvin, but... oh, can't think of his name right now. And this is Jack. Gordon is his name.
Gordon.
And then there's Jack, and this is Marvin.
Okay.
And then it's Tony.
Tony.
And then the wives, you get Marlene, Christina, and then there's Father, Mike, and myself. But this would be Viola. And Iris is Jack's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And Marvin is Hildegard's husband.
Okay.
This one, Hildegard, and this one is Hildegard.
Okay.
And Tony's wife is Joan.
Joan. Okay.
And then me and Mike.
Okay. Okay. And then who's in this one here?
Oh, that's great grandma, and my grandma, and that Frances Kraft.
Okay.
She's Reynolds now, but she isn't living anymore.
So when you were growing up, you knew your Was it your grandma?
I knew my great-grandma, and I knew my
You
grandma.
knew your great-grandmother.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my.
I knew her. Oh, yeah.
What was she like?
Well, the way I knew her, when we got to Grandma's house, it was in Ellen here, and she'd be sitting and praying the rosary, and Grandpa would be sitting and reading his Bible. And then always, she was a short lady, and to church, they'd go together. One could hear good and the other one couldn't see good. And I could still go and show you the bench in Ellen here where she was sitting, in the same benches as we have now yet. I could tell you where they were sitting. They always went together.
They lived in Allen?
Yeah, they lived in
Okay.
Ellen.
And this is on your dad's side or your mom's side?
Mom's side.
Mom's side? Okay. Did you know your dad's side of the family?
No, Grandpa I knew. I've got a picture of my grandpa.
Oh, do you?
I have it here.
Can we see that one as well? And this is your dad's father.
Your dad's father, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. What type of a man was he?
Dominic.
What was his first name?
Dominic.
Dominic. And you said you knew him real well?
Oh, I knew him. We knew because when he was living with my mom and dad, and I'll never forget him saying this, he had a candy standing on his desk, and he was always making harnesses for the horses because they worked on the field that way. And he couldn't make collars, he couldn't make anything with leather. So I don't know what corner he was standing. So I went in and took that little candy and looked at it and put it down. So my sister, Bertha, she done the same. She went in and looked at it, and she put it down. And then he says, "Come here, children, come here. I want to tell you something." I can still hear him say it. It starts with small and ends with big, stealing. I'll never forget him saying that. Yeah, it was him.
How often did you get to visit him?
We were living with him for quite a while.
Oh, really? What was it like living with him?
It wasn't bad. We were small yet. That's where I'm quilting.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's somebody else quilting. I was quilting here at his grandma's place. This is one of my great grandsons, and he wanted to sew all the time. So I gave him a needle. I said, "You have to bring the needle up." So here he the needle up. His little hand went up, and I showed it to him now. He doesn't remember. He's married. He's got two boys and one girl.
So how old were you when you started making quilts?
Me? I was in my 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, did you ever help your mom with any sewing or quilt making?
Well, we did, but not that much. This is my son Rick with his boys. 3 boys. This one graduated and this one is graduating next year. Is that all you know? Don't want to know? That's most of the family.
Okay. Is this picture in here on the wall, that portrait, is that of you and your husband?
That big one?
Yeah.
That's our wedding picture.
That's your wedding picture?
Yeah. No, I can't tell you too much. We celebrated it in the hall in Ellen here. And that's about it.
How old were you when you got married?
I think I was about 23 or so. I can't even remember. I got lots of pictures here that they could be sitting here a whole hour. No, I can't tell you too much about that.
Okay.
But his birthday is, the other picture is his birthday in the bottom, those smaller ones.
Okay.
We had over 100. We barbecued for 110 people we had on his birthday. That was 3 years ago.
Oh, my. How long were you married to him?
We were married 62 years.
Really?
We were together.